Hello everyone, as you guys probably already know, MrBeast has been getting bodied left, right and center recently, with the main guy going over him being the YouTuber DogPack404, and he's brought things to light such as MrBeast's illegal gambling situation and that he hired a known sex offender. But before I get into the video, I would just like to ask that if you happen to enjoy today's upload, to like and subscribe. DogPack has now uploaded part 3 of his series, if you can call it that, and it was a bit of a shit show. He brought up one good point against MrBeast in this 27-minute long video, and he did a little digging that one of MrBeast's top guys is a homo.
But by 2017, LaQuia Hill was running an adult entertainment event business in San Francisco called LaQuia Hill Entertainment. Then in 2019, he was hired to MrBeast as a producer.
Our party evolved into this place where, you know, you have the drag queens, the muscle daddies, the bears, the twinks, the possible.
I'm just kidding, but what it did show was multiple people from MrBeast talking about how this LaQuia Hill guy more than likely sexually assaulted someone at the company, or at least sexually harassed someone.
But here's the first testimony, and I'll say this person is especially credible in my opinion. I asked them, did you see or hear of any sexual misconduct at the company? They say yes. LaQuia Hill, the current COO. In 2021, he had an assistant named victim's name. I heard LaQuia acted very inappropriately with victim, booking hotel rooms with only one bed, walking around in his underwear, having victim come to his house and showing him his sex toy collection. Just in general, LaQuia made victim uncomfortable. Victim started complaining to higher-ups and a report got written. LaQuia was put on paid leave for like a month. Then MrBeast moved him to the dubbing company, and he was hired back in 2023 and was promoted to COO, even though Jimmy, James, and Sue 100% know his history. Also, I heard that when victim was let go, he was given $30,000 in severance. Verified employee number 2. I asked them the same question, have you heard of any sexual misconduct at the company? They say yes. I don't know how to spell their name, but LaQuia, something like that. He was brought in last year after having not worked there for a year or so at a very high level. I respond LaQuia Hill. They say the reason he had been asked to leave previously is that he had sexually harassed someone that still worked at the company when he was brought back. Yes, LaQuia Hill. But they brought him back knowing he had sexually harassed an employee previously. I verified employee number 3. I'm looking into more accusations of sexual misconduct at the company, wondering if there's anything you could corroborate. Have you heard of anything about LaQuia Hill? They respond, the old gay guy who likes to bang 18-year-old straight employees? Yeah, I've heard of him. Anything non-consensual to your knowledge? I heard he got in trouble for hooking up with his 18-year-old straight assistant, but the company kept it quiet from what I heard. He's a producer and worked in the adult entertainment before MrBeast. Employee number 4. Do you know who LaQuia Hill is? Yes. And you're aware of the case that has been covered up for some time. Explain. Essayed multiple people, apparently roofied multiple people as well. Verified employee number 5. I'll also say this person is especially credible, but they worked there a while ago, like 2020, 2021, around then. Okay, few things. LaQuia sexually assaulted his assistant who was straight and LaQuia was gay. You probably already know that, but James is best friends with him, so holy shit was that surprising that they kept him around way longer than they should have. There were reports of him making the assistant sleep in the same room/bed with him on trips, touching him inappropriately, and dangling his job in front of him. Employee number 6, did you hear anything about LaQuia Hill? I heard that incident happened, I heard they let him go, and I heard they brought him back and just put him in a different department.
Even this was handled kind of wank. It shows like 7 different stories that are all telling the similar thing, but all different details about the whole thing. But then he never really distinguished the two. He kind of just shows them off as separate allegations. Like if one of them is just like he harassed this one person, the other one is he slept with this one person without their consent. They said one he's made someone feel uncomfortable. It was more than likely all of these situations combined together, sort of like a game of telephone. But at the very least, we do know that this guy did some wild shit at the company, maybe something illegal, we're not sure, but it eventually led to this.
Now, I have been open with MrBeast about the fact that I was going to cover LaQuia Hill. This is a single frame in my first video where I reference LaQuia. He's also in my Twitter header. And I've also just told people who work at MrBeast that they have to let LaQuia Hill go.
If these allegations are the reason as to why he was moved, it makes almost zero sense to me as to why they thought this was a smart move to begin with. Someone was gonna talk about this at some point. I mean, everyone knew, and this is the biggest YouTuber in the world. If someone in this company, especially one of the top guys, was accused of something like this, why didn't they just fire him? This is stupid. I mean, they just moved him around to different companies.
So they did what I wanted and let him go, right? Well, just on a whim, I decided to look into the Creator Global LinkedIn, and it had gone private to where everyone just shows up as a LinkedIn member, right? But I saw this, L, LinkedIn member, president at Creator Global. I thought, you know what, that's a little suspicious. So I reached out to one of my connections close to MrBeast and I said, hey, can you look into this account for me? Because sometimes if you have connections, you can see private LinkedIn accounts. And this is what they saw. LaKoya Hill, listed as the current president at Creator Global. No work history between graduating UNC in May 2001 and becoming the president at Creator Global in 2024. Dude, this is like the 3-cup game where you gotta like keep track of the pets and races as MrBeast just moves them between companies.
They just sort of kept moving them around. You know, like those killer whales at SeaWorld, after it kills a trainer, they'll then move it up to Seattle. They don't give them their background.
The section after this is where it starts to get pretty sloppy, other than the most egregious part, which is very small but carries a lot of weight behind it at the start of the video. But this section itself is pretty stupid. He starts by talking about the work culture of MrBeast and how men on the staff would act inappropriately towards female staff. But then he goes on to talk about MrBeast's ex-girlfriend and dispels some unfair clout chaser claims against her. He then reads over the recent post she made against MrBeast, which is just kind of nothing. She doesn't really say anything in this. She says a lot of words, but nothing's really being said. You know what I mean? It's just pure waffle. But then after this is where it gets really bad because he just starts clip chimping the absolute fuck out of him.
So how does Jimmy treat other women?
I don't really get along with women. I don't really get along with women. I don't really get along with women.
Well, women are stupid because they're inferior to men.
That when she and a group of contestants who were menstruating during the event had asked the production staff about getting their underwear more quickly, she had been told that it was not a medical emergency.
You'll never actually respect a woman, but just act like you respect them.
My God. MrBeast withheld my birth control. I have ovarian cysts. You can't just stop taking birth control.
I don't really get along with women.
There's some stuff in here about the Beast Games being a mess, but the main thing is just the joke clips of Jimmy calling women dumb and boring. And I mean, is he wrong?
Also in this podcast, Jimmy goes on to talk about his relationship with his current girlfriend, Tia, in very weird ways, in my opinion.
For us now, like an idea of a date is just to like take an IQ test and then study and see if we can get it higher. An idea of a date is just to like take an IQ test. And then she was like, I'm an author. And I was like, fuck yeah, good. She has a hobby, and then I just DM'd her. I was like, oh, so your book, can I read it? She sent it over, read the whole book, and it was just like acting like it was the greatest book ever. I don't really get along with women.
Okay, never mind. This is the best point he made in the whole video. Move aside, MrBeast, Mr. Breast, Mr. Boring just moved in, and he's got the personality of a plank of wood. Now, I want to just go back to the start of the video here and cover, in my opinion, the thing that is more than likely going to get this guy sued, unless he just magically pulls out some more evidence of his claim in part 4, because this is absolutely fucking wild.
Okay, today I'm going to be covering MrBeast's secret CEO, James Warren, and his involvement in SA cover-ups, like the one including his best friend, LaKoya Hill, who also happens to be MrBeast's secret chief operating officer, or was. So quick profile on James Warren. He's Jimmy's cousin and secret CEO, and I say secret because, you know, they're not very open about that fact. Like he doesn't post about it on social media. It wasn't ever attached to his LinkedIn. He's never featured or really referenced anywhere. I heard that he's very aggressive. I've heard him referred to as a psychopath who screams at people and hits his girlfriends. There's allegedly domestic violence charges that were filed against him.
Okay, so you just accused him of a lot here. Is your next thing you're going to present some receipts, here's some evidence? You're going to share some evidence of that claim, right? Right?
And I say allegedly because it turns out there's a lot of people in North Carolina named James Warren who assault their girlfriends, I guess. So I'm still having people look into these cases.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Why? Why did you allege this here if you're still working on getting the evidence? Can't you just cut it out the video, at least waited a little while? I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to find if this guy was charged with beating women. I mean, wouldn't that be in public record? Couldn't he just call up the police department in his area and just ask if this guy was involved in this sort of crime? It doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world, doesn't sound that hard. He doesn't even have anything for this yet. It's not the biggest ask in the world to just make sure that you double check your allegations before you post it in a video. Oh, and don't worry guys, he's got the top dogs working around the clock on this case.
Specifically, that surprise witness on YouTube, she's been super helpful in like behind the scenes, just submitting freedom of information requests and just helping me out a lot in general. She's super nice, super smart. She'll be posting a lot of updates on her channel, as she has been about the MrBeast situation.
MrBeast video caused a military operation.
Okay, this is a fucking mess. What is this? What the fuck did I What did I just watch? I mean, in part 1, it was a bit long, but by the end of it, it got his point across. Part 2 was just 30 minutes of... with some good stuff spread throughout, and now part 3 is just not finished.
James Warren, also allegedly an ex-drug addict. I've heard that he offered cocaine and hookers to editors to stay late. And then the really big thing is that there was some incident between him and a female colleague that resulted in the female colleague leaving the company and receiving 3 years in severance pay. I'm still actively looking into this incident, so if you have information, let me know. But I've heard from multiple credible sources that this is true and this did happen.
Look, I think the idea behind him rushing this out was quite simply that he had heard a lot about this guy behind the scenes, but didn't exactly have all the evidence yet. If you remember when part 1 was released, it then led to the Jake Weddle guy coming forward, and that led to DogPack finding out the information about the sex offender guy and Jake the Viking getting absolutely shredded. So what I think is happening here is that he's just released a video without the evidence fully yet and is hoping to fucking Christ that someone comes out with something better than what he had right now so that he can just like show it in part 4. Overall, this video was an absolute shit show and really needed to be delayed because he's gonna get sued for this and it's fucking stupid.